this may come as a shock to some of you, but Dante Graves is actually a huge fan of the Winnie the Pooh franchise, the Winnie the Pooh cinematic universe. God, this thing is hot. I paid homage to this fact in Samhain, where I donned this costume, this exact costume, which still fits me terribly and is still
way too hot.
But I'm a huge fan of Winnie the Pooh. If I could explain it somehow, I don't know if I can. It's more one of these things where it wasn't even something I got to see a bunch when I was little, but like if you've seen it 1 or 2 times, it stuck with you. Like just that VHS tape, like the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh or whatever, I'd watched it all the time. And it was kind of like comfort food when you're a kid, especially if you're a kid who had a childhood kind of similar to mine, and that freedom of like running around outside and just having an imagination and stuff like that, like Winnie the Pooh kind of encapsulates that. So while I probably couldn't tell you too much about Winnie the Pooh's lore, you know, well, I could do this. I was like, oh, I'll do you one better. While I couldn't probably tell you too much about like Winnie the Pooh lore beyond like the superficial stuff, I could tell you what a Huffalump is. I can tell you what the 100-Acre Wood is. I can tell you who Winnie the Pooh's best friend is, but I can't tell you too much about like the creators or anything like that. But I do have this book, The Complete Tales of Winnie the Pooh, which this is all just like classic children's book stuff. And when I was younger, I actually really wanted to be a children's book author, and I wanted to tell stories kind of similar to Winnie the Pooh. I also was really touched by things like Where the Wild Things Are, Frog and Toad, any kind of like spooky, scary story thing. And for some reason, Winnie the Pooh always felt adjacent to those things. There's no horror aspects of it, but it definitely it tackles a lot of deep themes like growing up, friends growing apart, loss, kind of your general anxiety about the world becoming more complicated the older that you get, and how it doesn't have to be with the right attitude. And those kinds of things, I guess, really resonate with me the older I get even. And also, Winnie the Pooh seems to really kind of gel with like a spooky Halloween atmosphere, even though it's so innocent, which kind of, maybe this is an autism thing, but I really do think that there is a direct line between stuff like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark and Winnie the Pooh literature. And so while I'm not really a Disney guy, Winnie the Pooh obviously was being distributed by Disney for the longest time, and then Winnie the Pooh entered the public domain very recently, which I'm in support of. Now this and that and this book, not this book, but this book, I mean, this is also probably Disney. I bet their names are on here somewhere. I don't know, they had to have made money off this somehow. I'm not a copyright guy, I'm not a licensing guy. I'm a guy dressed like Winnie the Pooh talking about horror films on the YouTube, okay? So Winnie the Pooh enters the public domain, which I'm in support of, because I think everything should be in the public domain, at least to some extent. Obviously, you need to be able to make money off the things that you create. I mean, that's a nice idea. But I do think, like, look at, you know, Michael Myers, a character that has benefited greatly from or Jason Voorhees even, and any of those big slashers, and characters that are all benefited greatly from fans creating their own things. If you go on YouTube and type in like Jason Voorhees fan films or Michael Myers fan films, especially Michael Myers, there's a ton of them. I even have a playlist on my channel of ones that I have found and like have just collected and stuff that I've watched. They're not all good, but there's a lot of ideas, like a lot of creativity, and just on display in those where that would be girdled and snuffed out if it was like against the rules to make that. Obviously Michael Myers is not a public domain character, but what if Michael Myers was public domain? There's obviously a certain essence to the character that as long as you have that intact, I think you can do whatever you want with it. The Michael Myers multiverse, you know, you've got the Thorn Cold stuff, you've got the modern stuff, you've got the Rob Zombie stuff, you've got Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. All these different like incarnations, but fundamentally whenever Michael Myers is there, he still feels like Michael most of the time. And as long as you don't fuck about with that too much, Michael Myers fans will still turn out for it. So Winnie the Pooh, I think, is much the same, where there's like a heart to it, that as long as you get that heart correct, it still feels like Winnie the Pooh. You can really do anything you want with it. Now, I'm only talking about all this stupid random bullshit because I'm a horror movie guy, and I'm a Winnie the Pooh guy. I would probably say I'm a horror movie guy first, I'm sorry, Pooh Bear. But I really like horror films. And a few months ago, I heard that they were doing a Winnie the Pooh horror film. Pretty much like shortly after it was announced the public domain status of Winnie the Pooh, okay? Now, I want to play a voice message for you that I sent to a friend of mine when I had first seen this image announcing that it was going to become a thing, okay? Now, keep in mind, this is in a post-Willy's Wonderland, in a post-Banana Splits the movie world, okay? So this is my initial reaction when I first heard this. Okay, so May 26th at 10:09 a.m. Central Time, I said the following. I actually kind of find the idea of doing it sort of gross. Like, I was initially like, well, you can do whatever you want, but like, I'm a horror movie fan. I love horror movies. They're my favorite thing ever. And I also love Winnie the Pooh. And like, Winnie the Pooh is very important to me. And it just doesn't sit right with me. I'm not gonna get offended. I'm not gonna fucking throw a big fit about it. Like, if they want to do it, that's their prerogative. But I don't understand the appeal, and I don't understand why somebody would want to watch it. Like, are you that sensitive in your masculinity, in your adulthood, in your whatever, that you need to see a character that's so innocent and wholesome be bastardized and just kind of like dragged through the mud in some shitty, like, unwatchable bargain bin fucking movie? I don't understand the appeal of that. It's the same thing as all those videos on YouTube that are like, Barney gets shot with 1,000,000 bullets, or Elmo gets lit on fire. Like, why do you, like, does that make you feel more of a man? Does it make you feel big, Like, do you like that feeling, to take something that's intended to make children feel good and, like, violently, contort it and twist it? I don't get that. I don't find the appeal. I'm kind of upset that they're doing it, and if I see people messaging me about it and are like, dude, this is so fucking funny, it's so cool, I'm gonna be like, dude, that's so fucking immature. I just don't, that's just gross. I don't think it's cool at all. Okay, so that's what I had to say back in May when I first heard about this. I grew up in the early 2000s, okay? I was in elementary school during like 2000, 2008 or whatever. And during that time, a lot of kids, they'd go around and they'd sing stuff like, joy to the world that Barney's dead. I barbecued his head. Don't worry about the body. I flush it down the potty. Around and round it goes. The toilet overflows. The toilet overflows. Has anybody ever heard that song? Okay, well, there's like thousands of different variations of that song where you can insert Elmo or the Power Rangers or the Teletubbies or just something that's like clearly intended for children. It's for children whose brains are not fully developed, and it's just to help them learn and get out of their shell and just kind of, become more comfortable and experience the world through the comfort of their own home. It's quality, important stuff. It's important to the foundation of children's minds, especially growing up in an era where there's TVs and screens everywhere. These kinds of things are very beneficial to children. So Teletubbies, an adult would watch that, and their brain would just like not compute with it. They just get pissed off.
Like, what's there's a vacuum and the sun is a baby? What's going on here?
And they would just get pissed off. But to a baby, to an infant, all of those colors and pictures and the ha 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 la la po la la a scooter, that makes sense to them. Barney communicates with children in ways that they understand, through music and through dancing, like things that, like rhythm, things that kids understand. So obviously it would be infuriating to an adult to watch that stuff. Winnie the Pooh is a bit different. I think there are a lot more adults that have an appreciation for Winnie the Pooh, even if they're not sitting there, like, I'm not sitting here every night watching Winnie the Pooh. I'm not just like turning it on to enjoy it. But if I see something with Winnie the Pooh on it, I'm like, that brings me joy. There's a nostalgia there that I've talked about, where you see it once and you remember it forever, and it's just that wholesome purity to it that you love. So what I'm getting at here is there's a trend where anything that's wholesome and pure or intended for children, that's not made for grown-ups, where grown-ups who have, sick, deranged fucking minds that want to twist everything to be fucked up or like make fun of it or just be mean about it. They just want to throw dirt at it because they're just insecure in their own maturity. They want to like perform how mature they are by saying, see, I think it's funny that we killed Barney in this video. I think it's funny that we fucking lit Elmo on fire because I'm a grown man and I don't watch little baby cartoons. I don't wear diapers. I don't get my milky out of a bottle. Like they have to like perform maturity. So the Banana Splits movie, I think, is an example of this. Willy's Wonderland, not so much. It's kind of going in with the Five Nights at Freddy's thing. But Banana Splits is like, okay, this was a property that we knew as kids. That, I mean, I didn't have any connection to it. I didn't watch the Banana Splits movie. What I saw of it was terrible, so I just didn't watch it. They announced this Winnie the Pooh movie, though, and I'm like, okay, well, this is something that I care about. And yes, it's public domain, so I'm not going to sit here and argue that they shouldn't be allowed to do it. I believe that it's their prerogative to do it, as I stated in that video, or in that audio clip, and I think everything should be public domain. If they wanted to make a Winnie the Pooh porno, go for it. I will fight to my dying breath your right to do that. What I'm sitting here arguing is whether or not I think that that's going to produce a quality film. Anyone sitting here that's like really excited for the Winnie the Pooh movie, I think you might be stupid. However, these are the opinions of somebody from months ago. My opinion has shifted a bit. The trailer came out, and I watched the trailer, and there's also this little clip, which I don't know if this is an official clip. Somebody let me know. I'm playing clips of it here. But basically, Pooh Bear is in it, and he's wearing the red shirt, which I was pretty sure is a Disney thing. Like, Disney created the red shirt in the same way that Disney also created Tigger. So Tigger can't be in the movie, which is a bummer, because I like Tigger. I even have I have this sticker on my laptop of Pooh Bear and Tigger together. My opinion has shifted, though, because I don't like the idea of them taking these characters and just parading them around and making a completely unrelated, shitty, unwatchable slasher movie, but just because it's got the Winnie the Pooh brand on it, the name on it. People, all those fucking cretin mud show outlaw fuckers are gonna froth at the mouth because they're making fun of something wholesome. So they all have to show up and they're gonna buy the DVD at fucking Walmart and be like,
Winnie the Pooh fucking killed somebody, that's so funny.
And I still know that that's the reason this is being made. That's the only reason it's being made. Nobody looked at Winnie the Pooh and was like, I think this could really work as a slasher film. Even though I just said that it's got like a creepy element to it. And you could do an effective horror film, I do believe, but a slasher film where Winnie the Pooh is wearing like plaid and bib overalls and like holding an axe, like that doesn't make sense. Winnie the Pooh is supposed to be a stuffed animal. He doesn't really age. So how is he getting older? If the movie can explain these things, can explain the lore, if we can also see Pooh Bear in the movie as we know him, so that the transformation into being the slasher version will make a bit more sense. But if he's in the movie like always been a guy in a costume, that takes away from the cute factor, like the likability factor. I'm interested in watching a slasher film of Pooh Bear that's basically like, if you're a Winnie the Pooh fan and you're also a horror fan, this is for you because you're gonna get to see Pooh Bear do Michael Myers stuff. I mean, that's such a niche thing that I never would have asked for before. But if you can somehow nail the essence of the character, that's what I was saying earlier. If you can nail the character, you can get him to do anything. You can make anything with him.
I took Christopher Robin away from me, just like I take the honey from the bees. Now I'm on a killing spree, taking Piglet on the road with me. We'll slay them all till no one remains, 'cause Winnie the Pooh's in public domain.
I just am scared that this horror film, one, I still have all those opinions about it, about how it's just gross to do it in the first place, but if you're gonna do it, and I'm gonna watch it, because I have to, because look at the fucking thing I'm wearing right now, and the shit that's behind me, I have to watch it. I'm literally, like, it looks like this movie was made for me, even though I'm pissed about it. But I'm also not pissed about it. I have very conflicting emotions about this. If you're gonna do it, though, I would like the essence of the character to remain intact. So explain why Pooh Bear is bigger, explain why Pooh Bear doesn't look cute anymore. That's a big thing for me, that he doesn't look like Pooh Bear anymore. He looks like this ugly, stupid thing. I mean, you could have made a Yogi Bear movie. You could have made a Yogi Bear movie that's like... Also, Piglet is like a secondary slasher. So, just as a slasher movie in general, you've got 2 slashers that could be interesting if the movie's good. I don't know what I'm talking about. This whole video is terrible. I'm gonna release this. This is all nonsense. But I'm gonna release this, and I'm gonna put a little disclaimer at the beginning of it and say, hey, this video was trash, and I recorded it a long time ago, but we're gonna release it anyways.